don't like to torture people. It doesn't make me feel terrific.
All right. All right. For Judging Judy. All right.
Hello out there. This is the Judging Judy podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. But I've heard the feedback. Get to it. Cut the jabber. Cut the preamble. Get right down to cases. I didn't just hear you. I'm listening to you. Now for the preamble. Each week we explore an episode of Judge Judy to determine if Judy was innocent or guilty. I'm just as interested in Judy's behavior as I am in the cases she heard. Did she do her job? Did she deliver justice? That will determine my verdict on Judy for the week. Oh, and there's a game of hangman in there too, and a completely unfair, out-of-context quote too. It's all fun and games, I think. I try. Our podcast today originally aired September 28th, 2005. What are the chances? Today is 16 days before the 20th anniversary of the original broadcast. I mean, when I'm recording it, it's 16 days before the 20th anniversary, but I don't know how close or how far away it'll be by the time you listen to it. How could I possibly know that? That's unreasonable. Stop being unreasonable. I'm going home. Let's check in with Professor Wikipedia to see what was going on in 8/28/05. Oh boy, it looks pretty drab. The Pentagon announces it will investigate allegations that U.S. soldiers posted photographs of dead Iraqis on a website so as to get access to free internet porn. An 82-year-old British man was manhandled out of Labour Party conference for loudly protesting that Jack Straw was lying about Britain's war involvement with the conflict in Iraq. Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Israeli airstrikes on Palestinian areas continue. IDF planes and artillery strike Gaza, knocking out power to parts of the city, destroy a bridge in Beit Hanun, fire missiles at a Fatah Youth Center, an office and a refugee camp in the central Gaza Strip. Israeli troops later raided offices of Hamas and Islamic Jihad in the West Bank. Why doesn't Wikipedia have news about, fun things that Cookie Monster said that day? It's always this person died, or this genocide happened, or this evil was aided and abetted. Bad job today, Professor Wikipedia. I guess that's what you get for trusting a professor of phrenology. Now for a quick roundup on how Wall Street did that day 20 years ago. It looks like Apple closed at $1.53 after opening at $1.59. AT&T climbed 13 cents to wind up at $18.05. ExxonMobil closed 47 cents down at $61.73. Darden Foods closed 80 cents lower, bad news for never-ending Pasta Bowl fans, whereas corn futures, the prices for those were up a quarter, ending the day at $203.25. That was our Wall Street review. I hope you sold low, bought early, and voted often. Huzzah! Oh, and remember that nothing I say should be construed as investment advice. Consult a professional financial advisor for qualified guidance on investment strategies for stocks from 20 years ago. Finally, we've got the box office for September 28th, 2005. Our top 3 movies that day were Flight Plan, Corpse Bride, and Just Like Heaven. Guess which of those 3 I've never heard of? Here's a hint. It apparently stars Reese Witherspoon and Mark Ruffalo, and is about, quote, a lonely architect who finds an amazing apartment only to discover it's haunted by the spirit of the previous tenant, an overachieving doctor. Hey, have you ever heard that joke about Reese Witherspoon? She stabbed her eye out. Reviews for Just Like Heaven were just ever so slightly on the positive side, with it clocking in at 54% in Rotten Tomatoes. I'd like, however, to pull a specific review and a specific quote from Robert Roten from the Laramie Movie Scope. Again, quote, like a romantic comedy, Chinese dinner. You watch it, and an hour later you are hungry again for a romantic comedy. Can someone tell me what Robert is talking about? Is this a thing? Is Chinese food supposed to leave you hungry afterward? Is he confusing Chinese food with celery? Has he been ordering celery rangoon at his local place for years, only to find himself hungry each time afterward? Robert Roten, I know you're listening. Email me. Come on the show. Explain yourself. All right, that's enough. Let's get to the case.
What's your landlord doing while you're away?
My landlord? Huh. I don't know. Veronica, what are you doing while I'm away? I'll see if I can find out what Veronica's been doing. In the meantime, let's get on with the cold open.
Your conduct gave her the willies.
Gee willikers, the willies? What are we gonna do, Scoob? Sneaking and snooping and violating people's privacy. I would have gotten away with it if not for that pesky TV judge. This cold open definitely has some 1960s Hanna-Barbera cartoon vibes, and if sneaking around his tenant's room doesn't work out for a plaintiff, he could always play Yogi Bear in a live-action reimagination. If you rent from him, he might just steal your picnic basket. Bad Yogi Bear impressions, are they still funny in 2025, or were they never really funny at all, regardless of when? Okay, whatever. No more impressions, but be prepared because I've got a whole lot of Hanna-Barbera references coming up. The season 10 intro is looking a lot like the season 11 intro, which, look, season 11 intro, it was definitely an improvement over that empty Yoplait yogurt of an intro we had from season 25. But at the same time, I was hoping, this might be selfish, but I was hoping for something new, something big and bright and exciting, like Judy doing a backflip or riding a motorcycle through a window of a burning house, or Judy. God, I'd settle for an intro with Judy just making some waffles or something. But no, it's the same thing we got in season 11. The people are real, the cases are real, the intro is blah, 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 blah.
21-year-old librarian Hiroshi Noma.
Hey, tell me, have you ever heard this joke? Why did the librarian sue his tenant? For past due rent and damages to his home. What are the odds that Judy makes some snide remark about Hiroshi, about him being a librarian? Maybe she'll say something like, so you put books on a shelf for a living. You call that a job? Get a real job. Or maybe she'll say something like, just because you have a librarian, you want me to throw the book at the defendant? Is that it? A little bit of a postscript here. She didn't say either of those. Hiroshi, our aforementioned landlord, is suing his ex-tenant Deborah Drake for the last month's rent for the room she had in his house, plus extra for damage she did to the room. Deborah says she doesn't owe Hiroshi a dime because...
Your conduct gave her the willies.
Oh, also...
And you're a bit of a control freak.
Ouch. Giving people the willies and being a control freak. Is this an episode of Judge Judy or my last performance review before I got fired from my job at Burger King? You can have it your way, but only if your way is my way, and my way is extra pickles every time, damn it. Deborah also says that she left the room just as she found it, which is not to say that she left it clean.
A mess when she found it, that's the way she left it.
How do you think Hiroshi went back to work after this aired? I can't think it was easy jumping back into book club at the library after everyone learned he was a sneaky, messy willy giver. Oh no, Hiroshi, it's okay. You know what gave me the willies? This week's book, No Country for Old Men by Cormac McCarthy. And that Anton Churga, he was more of a mess than you ever could be.
You going to shoot me?
Deborah learned of Hiroshi's room / disgusting pigsty through a mutual friend, perhaps Huckleberry Hound or Quick Draw McGraw, and had rented the room for a few months. Now, we don't know where this place was. We don't know how many square feet it was. We don't know the neighborhood or, walkability, but work with me. What do you think? Guess how much you think a filthy dung heap of a room cost in 2005.
$550.
Oh boy.
Hiroshi confirms that Deborah had been up to date for the first few months of rent, except...
But she still owes me for a bounce check, which is another case.
Don't tell me about another case.
This is what every doctor wishes they could say to their patient when they come in because they've got a cold. But then they start talking about their indigestion, and their back pain, and their collapsed lung, and a reoccurring dream about a plane crash in the Pacific, and blood in their stool.
Don't tell me about another case.
Lest you think that Judy's shooting down Hiroshi just because it's kind of her shtick and it's what made her millions of dollars.
Not as young as I used to be. I can only think about one thing at a time.
Wait. I know it's shtick. But this is exactly what a judge is supposed to do, isn't it? Thinking about two things at a time, carefully considering two things, two opposing viewpoints, weighing their validity and coming to a judgment that manages to reconcile both. Then again, if it ain't broke, don't shtick it.
She still does owe me $335 for that.
Are you confusing me again, Mr.
No, I'm not.
We're not asking the judge to explain the tax code or how and why the Epstein files haven't been released, people. I don't think this guy should be penalized for getting ripped off with a bad check and bringing it up to the judge. It kind of seems germane to the case at hand. If he had tried to ask the judge where she stood in Sublime, that'd be one thing, but come on. Note that Deborah paid at least 2 of the months late and had this whole bounce check thing. Still, her main gripe, the reason she says she decided to leave the place were the, quote, living conditions.
That is really kind of mushy.
Mush, mush, mush!
Anyway, Deborah alleges that Hiroshi became too controlling, and that others, including Hiroshi, started going into her room unannounced. One particular incident involved Hiroshi humiliating Deborah after finding a certain something in her room. Hint, it wasn't a book by Ayn Rand, or however you say her name, though that would have been pretty embarrassing.
He found a bong.
Wow, huh? I have no idea which way Judy's going to go with this one. And I'm not cheating. I'm taking these notes live as I'm watching, just trying to predict how Judy's going to react here and trying to get myself in the mindset. It's 2005, so weed isn't as ubiquitous as it is today. I mean, you can go to Dunkin' Donuts and get munchkins in 3 flavors, chocolate, jelly-filled, and ganja. But it's also not 1983 either, kind of the war on drugs, Nancy Reagan era, so that would kind of be the harshest reaction. It's not then, it's 2005. At the same time, Judy is very much of that era. Will she drop some kind of anti-drug gavel on poor Deborah's head? Hasn't Deborah been through enough? Have I brought up her braces or have I not brought up her braces?
A bong.
What is that?
What is that?
What is that? What is that? What is that?
Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it!
Here I thought the very mention of a bong might bring hellfire and brimstone down upon Deborah's head, glaring orthodontics included. But Judy doesn't even know what a bong is. She graduated from college in 1963, and she doesn't know what a bong is. She was a real judge in New York City family courts for 14 years, and she doesn't know what a bong is? What could she possibly think Deborah is talking about? A new game for the original Nintendo, Donkey Bong? Thankfully, Deborah provides a very, very helpful, very clear, very DARE-approved explanation for what a bong is.
Smoking tool to use if you were to smoke drugs.
You know what I think? I think Judy should keep this line of questioning going. Drugs? What's drugs? Smoke? What do you mean smoke? Rest assured, though, this isn't Deborah's smoking tool if you want to smoke drugs. Nope, it's not hers.
In one of my friends' possessions.
So we're to believe that one of her friends, unbeknownst to Deborah, snuck into her room in the middle of the night with the sole purpose of hiding her smoking tool if you want to smoke drugs? Wait. I'm on to you, Deborah. This is from episode 218 of Saved by the Bell. Yeah. Except instead of you, it's Lisa Turtle. And instead of a bong, it's hypodermic needles. And instead of winding up on Judge Judy, everybody winds up at the science fair, which Screech wins by proving that the substance Lisa injected, it wasn't even heroin. It was Arm & Hammer foot powder. Deborah, you sly dog. I figured you out.
Drug paraphernalia in
Yes,
your room.
correct.
That's what we used to call drug paraphernalia. Now they call it something else.
Yeah, man.
That's Judy explaining the concept of a bong to Bailiff Byrd. And that's Bailiff Byrd while simultaneously hiding his hash pipe, pretending that he too is entirely unfamiliar with the concept. Hiroshi gives a perfectly reasonable explanation for how he wound up in Deborah's room in the first place.
Because, Your Honor, I was looking for
at me.
something. I was looking for something that she told me to look for.
After another 7 to 8 minutes of accidental beatboxing, Hiroshi finally reveals that he was in Deborah's room, but not just snooping around. Not to find any drug tools her friends might have left there either. He says he was there, with Deborah's knowledge, to find the rental contract the two had signed. Wait, Hiroshi, there was a rental contract? If there was a rental contract, it should all be a no-brainer. Why are we only learning about this now? You'd think it might have been brought up a little earlier, sometime before Braceface had to explain the chemical properties of THC to Judge I've never heard of anything harder than tab soda Judy. A rental contract in a dispute about rent is pretty important.
Mr. Noma.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Judy actually lets this tiny faux pas slip past.
You can't double talk me, Mr. Noma.
That's because she's not happy that Hiroshi says that Deborah told him to go into the room when she says she didn't. She's not happy that he seems to be making up on the spot things like this rental contract. But she's actually dangling a chance at redemption in front of Hiroshi's desperate, pleading eyes.
You have to be very careful, Mr. Noma. You may have a just cause today. If you fudge the truth, you're not going to be successful.
She's right. I kind of feel like Hiroshi got bad advice going into this whole thing. You know what he needs? A lawyer. He needs a lawyer. When people have legal issues, when people aren't getting paid rent money, they need a lawyer because the law is intentionally confusing and convoluted. But instead, they wind up on TV where they make up mealy-mouthed lies and misgendered judges. And then again, if we didn't have TV judges, we wouldn't have TV judge podcasts, and then we wouldn't have TV judge podcasters, and then, well, now I'm feeling existential like good old George Bailey.
One of us is going to jail. Well, it's not going to be me.
After Hiroshi admits to snooping and apologizes to Judge Judy for lying, she tells a little white lie of her own.
I don't like to torture people. It doesn't make me feel terrific.
Hiroshi says that he did not confront or humiliate Deborah in public, that the confrontation happened in the bedroom, not the living room where his friends were. This all seems well and good to Judge Judy, but it does beg the question. If Deborah felt that owning or discovering a bong in her room is humiliating, why did she go on national TV to talk about it? And why did she bring it up? If she was embarrassed by Hiroshi purportedly bringing it up in front of 7 people in his apartment, how must she have felt when she brought it up in front of 2 million people? Judge Judy was on in every podiatrist's office in America. Now everyone with ingrown toenails from Ithaca to Temecula knows you smoke pot, Deborah. Isn't that a little more humiliating? All right, back to the case at hand. Hiroshi and Deborah agree that she gave 30 days notice at the end of February on account of her feeling like her privacy had been violated.
And you felt that he had violated the terms of your tenancy by going into your room without your permission.
Correct.
I agree.
Judy, come on. We've still got like 8 or 9 minutes in this part of the episode in case 1. I hope you've got some fireworks hidden somewhere.
I still have yet to move my furniture.
Now that's what I call an existential crisis. If you haven't moved out your stuff, you haven't really moved out, Deborah.
Then you owe him for March rent.
Well, this'll be a cinch.
But it's not that simple.
And he said he would not let me get my stuff until I paid the rent.
Just
The classic Rent 22. You're not done renting the place out until your stuff is out, but you're not allowed to get your stuff out. Hiroshi is either an evil genius or a very, very bad landlord. I'm on the fence as to which one it is.
He had asked me if one of his friends could sleep on my bed and use my furniture while it was still there, and I agreed to that.
Evil genius. He is an evil genius. This case, by the way, is all over the place. Haven't these two ever heard of a 3-part narrative structure?
So you owe him $550.
Whoa, Hiroshi with the comeback victory, and I'm shocked. She was really hammering poor Hiroshi. To be honest, though, I think he deserved more than just $550. Oh, okay, wait, we're not done.
Let's get to the condition of the room.
Hiroshi alleges that Deborah put posters on the walls and put a hole in the door. He provides Judge Judy pictures of the damage and the contract they signed stating that she would cover the damages. We see shots of the charming 7th grade styled handwritten note. I'm pretty sure if you flip that contract over, you'd see that it had been written on the back of a piece of geography homework, and it was trying to tell you the difference between plateaus and mesas. Plateau? Platuxes?
Who wrote this?
I did.
You're not going to law school, are you?
No, ma'am, but I was planning to.
I don't think so.
What a completely, wildly unnecessary burn. Remember Judy from like 2 minutes ago?
I don't like to torture people. It doesn't make me feel terrific.
Now who's fudging the truth? And I want to be fair to Hiroshi here. If you'd already been to law school and passed the bar and blah, 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 then this contract would be bad. But don't you kind of go to law school to learn about these boring, stupid things? Maybe Judge Judy, maybe she should go to nice school so she can learn how to be nice. That's right, nice school.
You're doing too much. Do less.
The photos of the damage are pretty low res. Thankfully, Judy narrates.
Got a cigarette burn. Got some schmutz on the carpet.
Isn't that what got Bill Clinton in trouble, or was it cavorting with known pedophile Epstein? I can't remember. Anyway, Judy adds another $315 to Deborah's bill to account for the door, upping the total owed to $865.
For her.
Calling my parents by my bag, calling my job, snooping through my things.
All of this sucks, by the way. If true, none of it sounds fun. But you still have to pay your rent, and you can't schmitz on the carpet.
All parties in the matter of Ottoman versus Richardson.
Did he say
Ottoman
is a piece of furniture the plaintiff? Could it be? Has the prophecy that was foretold in times long ago finally come true? Have our Ottomans become sentient and litigious? Darn no. It's just a college student named Joe, and he's looking hungover. Somewhere between too many Bud Lights hungover and too much rubbing alcohol hungover. He's alleging that the defendant, Timothy, assaulted him outside a bar. So far, based purely on appearances, I could believe that somebody beat Joe up outside of a bar, and I could also believe that Timothy has punched people in the face. Whether my impressions reflect reality, we'll have to see. Notably, Timothy doesn't say he didn't beat up Joe, only that a drunken Joe, which by the way is a little bit redundant, and one of his female friends started the fight, and that he, Timothy, finished it.
The bar I saw these guys in earlier was called the Mystique.
Note here that I didn't do a single thing to alter Joe's voice. That's really what he sounds like. I'm not good enough at sound engineering or whatever to make a human voice sound so incredibly boring. Though Joe saw Timothy at Mystique, he later also hit up a bar called Zedecco's, because I can only assume here that he couldn't afford the cover charges at Kaleidoscope, Calypso, or Sudoku. Joe and two lady friends spent a total of about 4 hours between the two bars, lasting until closing time at Zedecco's. According to Joe, it was on the way back from this bar to one of the girls' apartments that one of them noticed Timothy's group.
I'm on my phone, I'm not paying attention.
Ahoy, hoy!
All of a sudden I hear, F you, slut, blah, blah, blah.
Misogyny? Outside of Zedecco's? Well, I never. Joe puts down Flappy Bird long enough to check out what's going on, confronting Timothy and his group.
It's a very awkward situation. I mean, 2 in the morning, all of us, 21, 22, nobody there was sober. It was a very drunken situation.
What do you think? What are the chances that Florida Gulf Coast University, or whatever college these guys went to, what are the chances that they used this quote, what Joe just said, in their promotional materials for high school seniors? At least it'd be truth in advertising. Might as well tell the kids that the food in the cafeteria will give them diarrhea too.
Well, unfortunately, Mr. Rodman, you can't speak for anybody else, so I assume that what you're really saying was, I was drunk.
The point is valid, but at the same time, I wasn't there, and I could have told you that Joe was drunk. Judy goes further, saying that given his inebriated state, Joe acted with reckless abandon by running across the street. Reckless abandon, yes, but if true, surprisingly fleet-footed and well-balanced given his aforementioned state. Oh, I mean his inebriated state, not Florida. I guess that works too. Judy tries to get to the bottom of what Joe was doing on his phone, but he was drunk. He can't explain it any better than he'd be able to explain signing up for an 11:15 Tuesday morning class when he knows there's no chance he'd be getting up before 12:30, at the earliest. Upon reaching the other side of the street, quote, words were exchanged and then
started a little scuffle. I don't know exactly.
What do you mean a scuffle? I don't understand.
Yeah, what do you mean a scuffle? Are we talking about a real barn burner? A real clobber knocker? A real humdinger? A real do-si-do?
Sizing each other up, I guess.
Sizing each other up? Were you gonna fight or kiss? What kind of scuffling are they teaching you down there in Pensacola?
There's no physical contact.
And all this time, I thought that they didn't believe in using protection over there. Anyway, Joe says that eventually there was physical contact in the form of a punch, but only after he had turned around to walk away. That, he says, is when Timothy's fist collided with the back of his head, presumably not by accident. After that, 2 of Joe's teeth popped out of his mouth, perhaps understanding that Joe, along with the rest of his mouth, was a lost cause and that they'd bet on the wrong horse. The teaser before the commercial break tells us that all we need to know about how much Joe had to drink that night and how badly he lost the fight.
So what you're saying is you were too drunk, you didn't connect.
Right.
Timothy's testimony starts with a stern rebuke. She wants his eyes on her, not on his shoes or his hands. I think she wants him to understand he's dealing with Judge Judy now, not Gert, the bouncer at Zedecco, who's so stupid, so gullible, he'll let you into the bar with any kind of ID, even one of them Burger King Kids Club cards. For those keeping score, that is my second Burger King reference this episode. For those keeping score who also work for Burger King Corporate, I'm totally down to shill for you. Get in touch in the comments or email me. Have it your way. Timothy alleges that he had innocently replied to something one of Joe's friends said to him when Joe came back with an outsized reaction.
He came out and started saying, oh, you know, F you, F this, you talk, blah, blah.
At which point, Joe stepped up to Timothy, not to kiss, but to challenge him to the aforementioned slobber knocker. This, according to Timothy, is the only time he got vulgar. I tend to agree with him because, at least in the case of Timothy, it very much appears that he could do enough damage with his fists that he didn't have to use his mouth.
He's like, yeah, that's right. Get back in your effing Subaru.
Insult a man's job, so be it. Insult his children, fine. Insult his canary, Gilgamesh, whatever. But don't you dare insult his Subaru. After needlessly dragging Timothy's Forester into the mix, Timothy alleges that Joe started to scuffle by pushing and punching him.
And he actually connected with the last punch. He hit me in the lip.
Wait. But the teaser, the clip. I thought that he was too drunk to funk, too blitz to fist, too hammer to slammer, too blotto to auto. Joe apparently also threatened Timothy's friend.
And he's like, I'll F Chris up.
First the Subaru and now Chris. Is nothing sacred to you, Joe Ottoman? It was at this moment that, feeling vulnerable, Timothy alleges he hopped to his feet and delivered the punch that knocked Joe to the ground. From here, a friend of Joe's entered the fray, and I'm just wondering how Joe wound up with all these friends. Was he someone's dealer? Were his parents rich? Is he like the Nepo baby of Fort Myers No. 3 jet ski repairman? At this point, sensing that he'd knocked out all of Joe's teeth that he would have that evening at least, Timothy left the scene. We have only one witness to the whole affair who has no skin in the game. She lived in the apartment in front of which the fight happened. I hope that she wasn't paying too much to rent the place, since it seems to have served as like the unofficial front row seats for the post-Zydeco 6th year senior battle royales. The witness in a printed police report that Judy reads off of says that there was lots of cursing on both sides, that she doesn't know how the fight started, but that 3 to 4 punches were thrown by each guy.
The fella in the white pants hit another fella in the neck or head, and Joe fell face first into the street. I came outside to help.
There are 2 explanations for how the witness knows Joe's name. The more likely reason is that she found out in the course of waiting with him for the ambulance. Fine, sure, whatever. But I'd like to imagine a different world, where this happens every week with Joe, not with Timothy. Every week there's a different Timothy. But without fail, every Saturday night, Joe goes out to Mystique, he goes out to Zydeco, and he loses a fight in front of poor Emily's house. I'd like to think that's how she knows his name.
Emily says she saw lots of fighting before you got hit, sir.
Thereby negating Joe's singular claim, other than that award that he won in high school for most likely to go on Judge Judy for suing over a fight you lost.
It was drunken fighting. Now you gotta understand.
The emphasis here is masterful. It's poetic. There's fighting and then there's drunken fighting. There's murder and then there's drunken murder. There's cheating and then there's drunken cheating. If you're drunk enough, it doesn't count. Bravo, Joe. Bravo.
Now you gotta understand there was no contact made.
And this leads us right back to the teaser.
So what you're saying is you were too drunk, you didn't connect.
Right.
What he's also saying is if the glove don't fit, you must acquit. I mean, it worked for OJ, and then he mostly did okay for a double murderer and a larcenist. What Judy doesn't appreciate is the fine distinction between missing because you're drunk, Joe, and making solid contact because you're not. Joe seems legitimately upset that Judy can't see the injustice behind hitting a man in the back of the head when he was walking away, when he was trying to call it a night.
You know what happens sometimes?
What?
Doodle happens.
So you've got to call it doodle, so that when the ladies at the hair salon got Judge Judy on, they don't hear you call it stuff. No one's going to keep the Judge Judy on at the salon, even though the sound's off. No one's going to keep it on the channel with Judge Judy if they use coarse phrases like stuff happens. That's how we wind up with doodle happens.
That's what happens when you're drunk and stupid.
Drunk, yes. We've established that Joe was drunk. But was he stupid? Yes. Also yes.
Stop being a crybaby.
This might seem harsh, kind of unwarranted, kind of gilding the lily. But you'll have to understand that Judy here, she's actually citing established court law. Just read Crybaby v. Numbnuts. It's extremely enlightening if, yes, a little puerile and a little poo-poo caca.
You don't drink until you're so stupid that you don't remember who you're talking to on the phone, what you're talking about. You stay sober enough to remain in control of your actions.
Now this belongs in Florida Gulf Coast University's brochure. Go Trojans! Case dismissed, no money for Joe. At the very least, losing this case and getting humiliated on TV could not have been worse than losing his 2 front teeth. I hope the Tooth Fairy knows a thing or two about veneers. Now it's my turn to pass judgment. It's my turn to judge Judy. You know, it's kind of the title of the podcast. Innocent means she did her job. Guilty means she didn't. This is difficult. The basic premise here is a question. Did she provide justice to the plaintiff, to the defendant, to the viewers of the show, to listeners of the podcast, and to the world, right? That's kind of how I set it up. So I think she got the decisions right in both cases. Deborah ought to have paid Hiroshi, even though he may have been an overbearing jerk. Joe didn't deserve money for losing a fight he was fully participating in. So okay, justice in the courtroom. Or was it? Judy was really ragging on Hiroshi. She sensed his nervousness and took easy shots at him over and over again. Even she acknowledged backhandedly that it was something akin to torture. Torture or not, it definitely wasn't fair to Hiroshi. Can we really say Judy was just if she wasn't fair? But then I think of the rest of us, the audience, and isn't this ribbing, this tit-a-tat, isn't it what we sign up for? It's a TV show after all, and despite the insults, Hiroshi was in pretty good spirits. Joe too for that matter. Even though Judy found any number of ways to call him a drunken oaf, he kind of took it in stride. Their feelings weren't hurt, and the audience got some zingers. I guess that kind of sounds like justice. I'm gonna say that Judy's innocent here. She could have been nicer, absolutely. She could have shown just a little bit of restraint. But she was well within the bounds of the conceit of her show, which is to provide sophomoric entertainment for a juvenile world. And ultimately, she made the right decisions. You're free to go, Judy. Just remember what you said about not enjoying torturing people, okay? Every single person in the entire world knows what that noise means. It's time for Hangman. And I'm going to make a slight adjustment this week. In past weeks, I tried to create some stakes, some interest, some intrigue by fictionally having certain living celebrities serve as our man or woman on the gallows. This, of course, was all in good fun and I was having a good time. But then I realized it might be a bad look if something real actually happened to one of these folks who I had condemned to a fictional hanging on this show. Yeah, it would kind of be a bad look. But I still do want stakes. So instead, we're gonna use people who are already dead. If I happen to win the game of Hangman, unlikely, but still, if I win, they will, according to the canon of this podcast, be brought back to life for eternity with none of the injuries or diseases or whatever that ended their life. If I don't win, though, then they're condemned to an eternity in hell or Provo, Utah, whichever has the cheaper airfare. So this week's dead for now celebrity who I'm gonna put up on the gallows will be. Remember him from being. As a reminder, I'm using hangmanwords.com and they give me 6 incorrect guesses, 6 chances to be wrong. It's a head, a torso, legs, whatever. And as a reminder, so far I'm 0 for 2. Let's hope the new rules bring about better luck, both for me and for. So in the past, I had used their SAT words list. This time I'm using the movies words list. And let's see, it's 2 words. The first one is 5 letters. The second one is 6 letters. All right, I'm gonna go obvious here. I'm gonna say maybe there's a T. All right, nothing in the first word, but the second letter in the second word is T. And once again, I know this is bad for podcasting. I don't care. I mean, I'm trying to save break. All right, so I'm glad, good start here. Let's go with A. Oh, we got a head. Okay, so there's no A and I only have 5 more incorrect guesses. What about L? Okay, there is an L. It is blank, 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 blank L, space, blank T, blank, 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 blank. Again, remember, I know, not good for a podcast, don't care. Let's see, what about an N? N is in Nike. Nope, no N, no Nike. And now we're his little stick figure here. He has a torso. All right. All right, let's go with E. Oh, E was a jackpot. The second letter is E, so we have blank E, blank, blank L. And then in the second word, we have blank T, blank E, E, blank. All right. This is exciting. I feel like, honestly, it's the closest I've been in the three times I've tried this here. I'm gonna guess S. I feel like maybe the S is the first letter of the second word. It was. That's exciting. But it's not street. Okay. I'm gonna guess R. I know I'm going obvious letters, but that's okay. I need to win one here. I need some good momentum. There is an R. There are 2 R's actually. So it's blank ER, blank L, space, STREE blank. Okay. Man. No, I really don't know what to do now. I expected to. Oh, I know it. I got this one. It's Meryl Streep. Let me confirm. Guess an M. Yep. Guess a Y. Yep. Guess a P. It is Meryl Streep. I got it. I saved you. I saved you forever. I hope you're okay with that. Hope you weren't enjoying the rest that comes with that. Huh. I guess this could kind of backfire, this idea. But I won. Thank you, Meryl Streep, and you're welcome. Thanks so much for listening to Judging Judy. I only have one last segment, and that is an out-of-context quote from Judge Judy. Life has certain rhythm. Unless you have a mental illness. Thanks again. Like, subscribe, share, fornicate, and listen to my other podcast, Sincerely Sydney. It's about a failed newspaper advice columnist. It's 10 episodes, and I did all the everything for it, for better or for worse.